Hi, Mustafa. Jenna Pinkstone signing on and syncing up with you today. I want to first thank you immensely. I am eternally grateful for your support on Patreon and with your intention to join us and to share our soil in that sacred space. I want to go ahead and share with you that during your oracle card pull, the visions of your journey were just really spontaneously, really quickly and effortlessly just imbuing themselves into my own orb of understanding, into my own auric field. And that's actually never happened before. Every single soul signature is different, but what what I wanted to share with you was how incredibly unique that experience was for me, with which just looking at the cards that came out for you that were becoming present in my own auric understanding of what your spiritual atmosphere had to say, that it was as though the oracle card reading and the soul journey were intertwining as one, all simultaneously on the same trajectory timeline. And it was beautiful and it was awe-inspiring. And this is exactly why I only wanted to have these readings available to my patrons on Patreon, because I have a feeling that every time that I do a reading like this for you, it's only going to build. It's only going to, I guess you could say, accumulate in a fashion, so that the strata in a geologic record through time, it's just one layer upon one layer upon one layer, one after another. And then over time, if you take just a very tiny sample of that geologic, those geologic features that have accumulated over time, you will be able to see the strata of influence that particular environment has experienced, has taken on as itself. And so it was beautiful, and it was illuminating, and it was confirming for me to know that we are on the right path here in what it is that we're here to discover together. So that being said, your soul journey has played over and over in my own orb of understanding many times, and I'm about to share that with you now. So I'm going to close my eyes so that I can see more clearly the vivid pictures and all of the vibrant colors and all of the messages that are shared with us in metaphor, many of which I personally, as a human being, will not understand. But I hope that they speak something deeper to you, and that if you feel called to do so, you will share that experience not only with me, but with our other brothers and sisters here on Patreon, so that we can illuminate their understanding as well. So I'm going to close my eyes and we'll go ahead and get started, okay? What I'm first presented with is actually, if you've ever been in a sound recording studio, if you've ever seen a representation of sound on a screen. And sound is just one type of frequency that we can experience here in the 3D world. And there are many different kinds of frequencies that can penetrate our auric field, that can be felt, by the senses and the nerve endings on our skin, or perhaps like our eardrum. It's only an extended form of touch. Our ability to hear is only a heightened, almost to a different dimensional quality to our ability to perceive through touch. but it is heightened. The eardrum is kind of a dimensional feature, a hyperdimensional feature of touch, so that the frequency is actually felt by our body, and then it can kind of infuse and be imbued within and absorbed by us and our own understanding, whether it is through our brain or through our emotions or through the mind, body, gut, like synonymous symbiosis of experience. What I'm seeing on a screen, first I see kind of like the heartbeat, you know, that you see in the hospitals, on the monitor, the heartbeat monitor. There's something to being able to see with your eyes that which can be felt by the body or heard by the ears. There's kind of a synonymous, there's an even playing field of experience that I feel what's being shared is that they're one and the same. There is no separation between these, and we can even overlay differing types of frequencies so that we can merge them together and experience these frequencies simultaneously. So I'm seeing a heartbeat that is represented as like a spike up in decibels. I'm also seeing like what you might see in a music recording room. We also have software programs for this now, where you'll take like a certain sample of sound, like perhaps it will be 5 seconds of sound, right? And there will be different decibels, and there will be different frequencies displayed in different ways, perhaps in different colors even. Perhaps the voice is the color blue and the violins are the color yellow, and they are all overlaid upon each other, and they're also overlaid upon this heartbeat, okay? And what I see together them create as they overlay, I'm also shown a blueprint, if you will, something that an architect would use. Have you ever seen these things where perhaps it's one, it would be much larger than this, but for our sake and purposes here, it would be one square, okay? And the house is drawn here, and the complete house is seen here, but this actual square of a picture is comprised of many different pictures, okay? And it's probably like this thick, and you can, but they're all overlaid one on top of the other like pages in a book. And you can lift one of them, and then you can actually see the different features and facets upon that one sheet, and it doesn't look like a house at all. It's perhaps the plumbing or the pipes. It is the anything that so like the plumbing and the pipes, it will have a different imprint than, say, the electrical wiring of the house. And then the next layer will be like the structure, the skeleton, if you will, of the features of the house. And then the next feature will have like where the major appliances are going to be installed. But that will be all that it is. It is only a complete picture of a house whenever all of these different features of the house are overlaid one on top of another. And that's what I'm seeing here with respect to this heartbeat, a person, the cadence that is their life, that is their life rhythm, that keeps them alive. And then there are all of these other frequencies that are contributing, that are putting forth these different pieces, piecemeal fashion. And one of them isolated will have a meaning. It will have a significance. Standing alone, certainly. A heartbeat has a significance standing alone, as does a violin in an orchestra. A single violin can be understood, right? However, it is not a symphony of a consciousness. It's not a complete picture until you have all of these different factors, all of these different elements and ingredients all overlaid upon one another so that it can be fully experienced. And it's showing me also that these elements, if only experienced independently of one another, that you're not getting the entire picture. And standing alone, they don't feel in and of themselves complete without all of these other ingredients to corroborate with, to collaborate with them and share their pieces of the puzzle, and to actually create an entire masterpiece to behold. Okay, so there's so many different images, and they're all kind of flying at me at once. The heartbeat, the sound studio, and I'm seeing kind of an architect, an overseeing architect that can extract and extrapolate all of these different elements to this entire sound experience. Okay, there's something to do with the sound experience to be had here, but how it can also be translatable into the vision, into the sense of touch. Okay, and it's almost as though we have to traverse through the sound waves first in order to access these other realms. Okay, which is interesting because in terms of the most, I guess you would say, elementary, rudimentary forms of sensation, touch would be the first. But in your case, Mustafa, what I'm seeing is that we're traveling through the sound waves first. We're traveling through the sound waves so that someone might be able to touch you in a meaningful way. That's interesting to me. And I do see, like, and I know there were feminine aspects that came out in your oracle card reading, and I am seeing a feminine figure speaking to you, and her words, the words that are coming from her, she is trying to envelop you in, almost as if it's like a hug. Okay, so this is speaking to that in terms of the sound waves are translatable once they are received into touching you, into reaching you in a new way. Okay? And there were other aspects of being caged, or your true nature not being fully expressed, because you yourself don't realize that yet. That came out in your card reading. I don't always refer to the oracle card reading, but in your case, because so many of these images were flying at me at the time that I was doing your card pull, I'm going to share a few of them with you here, okay? So I'm actually seeing like musical notes, and they're lines on a page, and they encircle you. It's like they're dancing about you. Okay, so this goes back to the sound waves being able to reach you and touch you. Okay, and they are actually touching you, and it's like the same musical notes that I see in the I guess in the recording studio, where like the blue color that can be separated from the orange color, like the voice and the violin and the, you know, the percussion, like all of these different sound frequencies make different signatures on a page or on a screen, if we're talking, you know, modern day technology. And in this way, an architect is able to extrapolate and extract different elements and features and ingredients and kind of manipulate each and every one of them to suit what it is that they are trying to create. And then after that, they can reconcile all of them so that they can begin, I guess you would say, they can coalesce once more, okay? So each of these different sound features, each of these different ingredients, or I guess elements, are dancing around you, and you don't even know that they're there because you can't hear them yet. And so they are not able to penetrate your auric field of experience. They're not able to embrace you yet because you haven't heard them yet. Okay? And this is speaking to the dragon that is lying dormant within you. There is something there that as soon as you're able to hear these frequencies and they are able to actually wrap themselves around you in this innate and internal embrace that is that's your birthright. It's something that's meant for you, and it's almost as though these frequencies are yearning to have you notice them. They are chomping at the bit. They really, really want you to reconcile this part of yourself so that all can coalesce once more, okay, into the symphony that you are, Mustafa. That's what I'm really I'm picking up on this. But there's something about your ears, you're needing to, it's not a matter of opening, it's a matter of tuning in to the right frequency. Your ears are open. You believe you are listening, and you are, but you're on the wrong channel. The right channel, you have to tune into that right, that frequency where these frequencies exist. And it's a dimensional quality. There's a dimensional aspect to this, as there are with different channels on like a radio station. It's and that's why they range from, you know, the lower waves to the higher waves. Like it'll start in the 80s and it'll go up to the hundreds, or, you know, and beyond, I'm sure. But if you're not tuned into the correct frequency, you're going to be hearing something else, and something it's not necessarily meant to sync with your personal soul signature, right? And it's not that it's a bad thing. It's more that it's probably meant for another soul signature. You're just, it's almost like you have arrived. I'm seeing that you've arrived to the correct building. And I'm actually, this is a new image and it's just coming to me now. Please bear with me. Interesting. Okay, you've arrived to the right building. You have shown up and you are on time to the appointment that's been made. There's an Akashic expression here. I love it. It's you're on time. You have an appointment. But you're in the wrong room and you don't know you're in the wrong room. Okay? You're waiting with like your briefcase and your fancy suit, and you're sitting and you're waiting, and you're kind of getting like peeved because like someone is supposed to be here. But what I'm seeing is that person is that you are supposed to be meeting this this person of influence, this person that's going to change your life, this person that is going to, as soon as the two of your lives intersect, like you're going to do amazing things together. And it's something that was always written, and you were always meant to have your lives intersect on the same path. And so it's almost like you're on the wrong floor. They are on like 2 floors above you. You're in but you're in the same room, okay? And there's a dimensional aspect here to this message. So it's like, it's almost like the room number is the same, and that's why you're in the wrong room, but they are like 2 floors above you, okay? And I'm actually seeing like a synonymous comparison between, the floors of a building being like the pages in a book, kind of like the different sheets of the architect's blueprint that are overlays of one another. It's like you've arrived to the room and you're certain it's the right room. There's a part of you that's very certain you are right where you're supposed to be. And you're getting irritated at them, and they're getting irritated at you, but you've both arrived on time to the correct room. But it's not quite there, and but you're like one on top of another. Okay, it's interesting, and something about the opening of there's something that needs to release in order for you to ascend to these next floors. Okay, the floors in the building are a metaphor. That's just so that we can be communicated with by the spirit world of a better understanding of the messages that we're meant to receive here today. Okay, it's very interesting. It's very it's cram-packed. There's a lot going on here, and it's shifting from one to another very quickly, and but it keeps reconciling all of them into the same message. Okay, so let's recap here. Okay. There's something to you opening up to an element of yourself that is going to help you to not change yourself, but only shift and transform the features and the frequencies of you that are inherent and dormant within you. Okay? There's something to, we don't need to, I see a Play-Doh creation. Okay, so there's a Play-Doh creation, and it's not what the creator intended, right? The first inclination is to throw the Play-Doh away. Like, stupid Play-Doh, you didn't make what I wanted. I don't like you anymore, and I don't want to play with you anymore. And I'm shown from a guide, like, don't do that, don't do that. No, just reshape the same Play-Doh, and you can create something new. And I actually see, okay, here it is, and I see the peacock. I see the peacock in all of its grandeur. Okay, its beautiful jewel-toned feathers, its majestic, like, grace with how it carries itself. Okay, it's a beautiful creature. There's nothing wrong with the peacock, but you are not a peacock, Mustafa. And I'm showing that this peacock can almost, it's like the Play-Doh, okay? It can be just squished back together, molded, and the same frequencies, the same exact sound frequencies in the recording studio can be mushed back together and can create an entirely new symphony with the same exact base material, okay? Because this peacock, once mushed back together, when rearranged in a different way, becomes the dragon, okay? They're two entirely different identities. They're two entirely different experiences, both for you and for those that receive you, okay? There's something to the sharing and receiving of sound waves through the ether that is going to transform who it is that you are inherently, but it's not going to change anything about you or your life. But it's going to change your life. It's the craziest. The spirit world is a conundrum, and the duality that speech can convey. Speech has a lot of issues with conveying the messages that are found, because the spirit world does not assign itself to this duality of this is right, this is wrong, and this is left, this is right, and this is good, this is bad. There's none of that in the spirit world, okay? And this dragon so this woman in your cards, she's shown up many times throughout this, and I didn't know it was her until just now, okay? So she has shown up as your guide, and she's been guiding me along the way, okay? And she may be a person in your life. She may be one of your own spirit guides. She might be someone that's been with you all along. And it may be that the frequencies that her status and her state in your own human world is something that has always inherently been there, and it could be embodied by an entirely other soul signature expression, as you know, that is manifested, if you will, as like a person in your life, or it could simply be a guide in the spirit world that is guiding you along the way. And perhaps, you know, she could be sending you messages through signs and symbols and metaphors, but there's something about you needing to tune to the correct frequency so that you can hear them, and it will come to you through sound waves, these messages. Because as soon as you're able to tune to the frequency of hearing those messages, it's going to open and expand everything. Everything dormant within you is ready to grow. And I see that very clearly. But she transforms as well. Once you transform, she transforms. And she has a lot invested in that opportunity. She wants this to happen very much. Not just for herself, but for you, because she loves you very much. She's very invested in this session right now with me, and in the oracle cards, her presence is very prominent. And as you could see in the cards of how when she came out as the Queen of Pentacles, if you look very closely at the pictures that I sent you of those cards, you will see the colors embodied on her, in her garments, in her clothing, as the purple and the greens and the blues. This all, it actually showed up very clearly as the same colors, but kind of acquiesced and merged together as one, I guess you could say, continuous stream of color in her garments and in her dress as she's riding you, the dragon, in that other card. Okay? And if you can actually see that, but it's something that you can feel also, okay? So here we have the same exact reference to to something that you can hear first, and because you can hear it, then you can feel it through those cards, because they rely so much on visuals to convey the messages that they have for you. What it is that you can see those colors. You can see how they are very defined and distinct and separate in the Queen of Pentacles card. But in the Dragon card, you can see how all of those colors are still present in her garment, but they merge as one. The purples, the greens, the blues, it all kind of becomes one continuous stream of experience in her garment, okay? And this is a clear and beautiful message that it's the same as what we were saying before, that it's the same frequencies, it's the same ingredients. It's the same ingredients that can be thrown and mixed into the batter, but if it's done in a different way, the cake comes out a totally different cake from the oven, okay? This is very